If you're a barber or a barbershop owner and you've seen a barber start at your barbershop and then build up faster than another barber that has been there longer, then it probably has something to do with what I'm going to talk about in this video. So this video is part of a playlist of videos that I'm making, which is what I call the laws of barbering, and in no particular order, but in today's video we're going to cover the next law of barbering, which I call it a law because I believe that this is true in every scenario, in every type of barbershop out there, and no matter what the pay structure, whether it's commission, booth rent, etc., these laws I think apply in almost every scenario you can possibly imagine. And in today we're going to talk about the next law, which is the higher your client retention rate, the faster you build. On the screen here you can see this is the law we're going to cover today. I already made a video about the ones that are highlighted. So as you can see, there is a lot to go here, but we're going to focus on just this one today, which is a simple concept. But honestly, this took me a long time to figure out, which is the whole point of my channel. I want to make it so that you guys don't have to have it as hard as I did. I didn't realize how important retention was until about 5 or 6 years into running my barbershop. I opened my barbershop in 2015. As I'm making this video, it is 2025. It's been 10 years now, and for about half the time of running my barbershop, maybe more, I didn't realize what I'm about to tell you guys in this video, which is how important client retention is and how it directly relates to how fast you build clientele. So if you're struggling to build clientele, then this may be why. So I'm going to cover in this video why I think this is a number that you need to start paying attention to. I didn't know this in the beginning. My software that I was using at the time didn't even track retention. So the first step is getting a software that can actually show you this stuff so that you can actually start to pay attention and know where you're at, and then try to take steps to try to improve it. But this is true, I think, no matter what scenario you're in. The higher your retention rate as a barber or as a barber shop, the faster you will build. Period. I don't think you can argue that no matter what structure you're in, unless you're in a hotel and the people that are coming to get a haircut from you are never going to come back. You need to focus on getting clientele to come back. And if you just did that, then you won't need marketing. You won't need to do anything crazy. You don't need to do discounts. You can just keep the same people coming back forever. It is the foundation that a business like ours, a barbershop, is built on, is recurring business, happy customers that come back for years. So I wanted to show you an example, and using ChatGPT and Gemini, I asked them both the same question, which is, if a barber, here's the question that I asked ChatGPT and Gemini. So here's two different scenarios. I hire a barber to work at my barbershop, and they both start on the same day. Each barber sees about 30 clients per week, which is the average for us. Some see more, some see less. That's about the average. Barber A retains about 90% of all of the clients that sit in their chair. Barber B retains about 50%. And these are actual real ranges that I see in my barbershop, with 90% being about the high end and about 50% being about the low end. So Barber B retains 50% of all their clients. Assuming each barber works about 40 hours a week and does 30-minute haircuts, and our retention window is 90 days, how long will it take each barber, given their retention, to become fully booked with clients? So it's actually a lot more of a wide of a gap than I thought, but ChatGPT did the math. You can put this same prompt into ChatGPT to see for yourself, but assuming that all these things are equal, but the only thing that's different is the retention. Barber A is actually going to become fully booked in 3 weeks, because if they're seeing 30 clients per week, they're both seeing 30 clients. The Barber A is gaining clients a lot faster, and you, as a barber, you only have so much time. So your job is to fill that time, and ideally you're filling it with the same people over and over again, so that way you don't need to be dependent on new clients. Now you're always going to need new clients because even with 90% retention, you're still losing 10%. But you damn sure don't need as many clients as the other barber who's losing 50% of their clientele. Barber A will actually build up and become fully booked starting with zero, assuming they have 90% retention, in 3 weeks. So from zero to fully booked in 3 weeks is absolutely possible as long as these numbers are true. You're working 40 hours, you're doing 30-minute haircuts, and you're retaining 90% of all your clients. It is absolutely possible to become fully booked in just a few weeks as a barber, as long as your retention is high. You have to be retaining 90+% of all the people that sit in your chair. Otherwise, it's just going to take you longer. It could happen, but it's going to take you longer, and you can shorten that gap if your retention is higher. If your retention is lower, then it's just going to take you longer. But this is actually the surprising thing I learned here, which when I asked ChatGPT about Barber B, who has 50% client retention, the actual answer was Barber B will never become fully booked. It was seeing 30 clients per week. Barber B is never actually going to become fully booked because they are losing clients just as fast as they're gaining clients, if you think about it. So if you've ever seen barbers that have been working for years and years in the same barbershop, but they're not filling up, they're walking in and there's still space on their schedule, it's probably because they have very low client retention. And about 50% is about the lowest I see in my barbershop. But it's definitely possible to have lower than 50%. The highest I've seen in terms of retention is like 91%, 92%. But I've seen barbers go as low as 50, maybe even in the 40%, right? And so the barbers that stay there are actually never going to become fully booked. If you think about it, mathematically, it's impossible. You're losing clients at the same rate that you're gaining clients if your retention is only 50%. So the only way you can become fully booked as a barber or as a barbershop owner is one of two ways. You are going to have to get more clients, or you're going to have to figure out how do we keep the clients that are coming in to keep coming back, right? Because otherwise you're actually never going to become fully booked. You're not going anywhere. You're just like running in place on a treadmill, and you're never actually making any progress because you're losing as many clients as you're gaining, right? And maybe eventually you will start to figure this out, and if you can't get more clients in the door, you can at least figure out how to keep the ones you have coming back. And that's actually, I think, the better use of time, where most barbers turn to how do I get more clients. I think the actual better return on investment is how do I get clients that are already coming here to keep coming back. And it arguably is a lot cheaper than to keep the same people coming back than to try to always be looking for new clients. This is the huge difference that I see in my barbershop, and why constantly we have barbers on both ends of the spectrum. We have barbers that can't possibly take any more clients because they're retaining 90% plus of the clients that sit in their chair. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have some barbers that have been working for us for years and still aren't fully booked and are relying on walk-ins because their retention is low. So you have to be able to get clients to come back. Now, if you go to Gemini and ask Gemini the same thing, it actually said the exact same answer. Barber A with 90% retention will get fully booked in 3 weeks. By the way, this is a great thing to do if you have access to both of these tools. Sometimes you can put the same question in both tools and it'll give you different answers, but a lot of times it's the same. So Gemini actually said the same thing. Barber A with 90% client retention will become fully booked, 80 clients, in 3 weeks. Barber B with 50% retention will never become fully booked. See, will never become fully booked with this retention and client flow. The only way to fix that is to get more clients or keep more of the clients that are coming back. So how do you do that? You might be asking. Well, that's the next part of this video. We're going to talk about what are the factors that influence client retention, because now that you know how important retention is, here's some things that you might be mindful of to start working on to get that client retention as high as possible. It's probably never going to get to 100%, but the closer you get to 100%, the faster you will build. So obviously the quality and the technical skill, definitely a big part of why clients keep coming back. But the main thing I think a lot of barbers don't think about is consistency. So how do you provide consistency? And ChatGPT says the same thing, consistency. So some of the easiest ways to do that, take photos, send them to the client, take videos, send them to the client, so that way they can show you next time, right? Because if you're doing this with every client, your phone's gonna fill up with photos and videos, but you can send it to the client and say, hey, show me this next time. So I give you the exact same thing. And then you can take notes, of course. One of the easiest things you can do if your system allows it, take notes. That way you know exactly what to do next time. Communication, absolutely, because and this is I think a big one, but checking in throughout the service, not just like saying nothing. Even if the client doesn't want to talk, you can still break up the silence by, hey, how's everything looking so far? Is that short enough? Because it actually shows the client that you actually care, right? And then time management, another hugely underrated thing, but clients value their time, like it says here. And if you're constantly running late, it's going to piss clients off, especially if you're trying to target higher end clientele. If you're trying to charge $50, $60, $70 or more a haircut, but you're constantly running behind on your appointments, you're going to end up eventually losing that client, because those clients that are willing to pay those kinds of prices also value their time. So you need to be efficient. That doesn't mean rush, but it means that if you say the haircut takes 30 minutes, then try to get it done in 30 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to start losing trust with your clients. And I think a lot of barbers don't think about this, but I just did a survey a couple days ago, and one of the things that people said that they consider when they're looking for a barbershop is how clean the barbershop is. How does the barbershop look? Because ultimately that leads to, are you going to give me an infection? Are you cleaning your tools? So barbers, clean your damn mirror. Change the barber side. Spray your tools. Ideally do it in front of the client. Put a new blade into your razor in front of the client so that they know you're clean. Wear gloves or wash your hands or use sanitizer and do it in front of them so that way they know that your hands are clean. All these things add a nice professional touch and lets them know subconsciously that you're a professional and you're gonna take care of them and you don't want to get them sick. The only thing you want to do is give them a good haircut, but nothing else. So that matters. Cleanliness and hygiene matter. Personality, I think personality is something, you don't have to have a specific type of personality to be successful as a barber, but it definitely is about if it's a good fit. So if there's a client in your chair who likes to talk, well, you got to match that energy. If there's somebody that doesn't like to talk, match that energy too. You don't force it either way, right? You kind of adapt to the person that's sitting in your chair. And then the atmosphere of the shop, definitely a big one. If the shop's too hot, too cold, too loud, too quiet, if it smells bad, if the vibe is off, if the barbers aren't getting along, clients can pick up on that, right? So you want to be mindful of those things. And then if you're making it hard for people to book with you or making it hard for people to pay, if you're charging them no-show fees, it's gonna be harder, right? You could still make it work, but it's just, from my experience, been running a barbershop for 10 years. If you're charging people no-show fees for not showing up, cancellation fees, your retention isn't going to be as good as it could be, right? Because we want to make it easy to book. We want to make it easy to do business with you. We want to make it easy for them to pay, right? So these things all affect retention. Perceived value. If you can charge whatever you want for a haircut, it doesn't mean it's worth it, right? It's got to be worth it. If you're the key here is, what do they feel like they got in return? It doesn't really matter what the price is, as long as they feel like they're at least getting their money's worth. But ideally, if they're paying $100 for a haircut, you should make them feel, I think, that they got $1,000 haircut, because price is relative, right? So if they feel like they got $1,000 worth of service and you only charge them $100, then that's actually a really good deal. So focus on the value, providing more value, and then price will become irrelevant at a certain point if you do that well enough. And then rebooking, follow-up, rebooking. Check to see if they're actually happy with the haircut. Nobody really does this, but after they leave the shop, doesn't mean you have to stop talking to them. Ask them how it was. Send them a text. And if they're really, really happy, ask them to write you a review on Google. You can automate this too, but it doesn't cost anything to just pull out your phone and send a quick text like, hey, how was it, And then the next thing is rebooking. A lot of barbers don't do this because we're like, oh, they can book online, whatever. Well, guess what's going to happen? They're probably going to wait 3 weeks past when they should have did it, and that's going to stretch out their haircut. So you're actually going to need way more clients to stay busy. So if you're not rebooking people, even if your retention is high, it's going to take you so much longer to become fully booked because their clients are stretching out their haircuts. Where even if you have an online booking system, try to get them to book their next appointment before they leave the shop. So that way they're not stretching out their haircut and they're not getting frustrated with you because they can't find a spot last minute. Tell them to plan it in advance. This is a lot easier if you don't charge no-show fees. And then when they come back more frequently, you build faster, right? Because you're retaining clients, but if they're stretching out their haircuts, it's going to take you so much longer to build. And the last thing is education, right? You can give them more than just a haircut. So if you're seeing that their skin is dry, their hair is dry, if they don't know how to style their hair, show them, teach them something, right? If they don't know how to shave without getting razor bumps, tell them, right? All these things, and it doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. Not even time, it's just words. You can talk, hopefully you can talk and work at the same time. And if you see that somebody is prone to razor bumps, maybe give them some tips on how to shave at home. If you see somebody doesn't necessarily know how to style their hair, tell them how to do it at home, right? These things all are things that add value and ultimately are going to increase the likelihood that somebody's going to come back and see you again. So that's basically just a few of the things that go into client retention as far as how to improve it. There are some more advanced tactics, like I cover in my Barbershop Owner Mastermind. You can create a membership to keep people coming back. If you need to get more clients in the beginning, maybe you're just getting started, we have some tactics that we talk about. One of my favorite ways of getting new clients is running ads on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. So if you're just getting started, then you probably aren't necessarily too concerned with retention right now, which I get. So you need to focus on just getting people in the door. But I can tell you that once you get good at that, you have to shift your focus to getting people to come back. So first, you need to get good at marketing, I think. So that involves running ads. If you're in a position to do that, you can do these free tactics like I talk about in my community, where you're just using Instagram to DM people. You got to make sure you're showing up on Google. So I have a course for all of that, and then I'm currently working on a course for how to create a membership, to keep clients coming back. So that's still under construction, but by the time you see this might be done. But this is another just law of barbering, that it doesn't matter where you are, what type of barbershop you have. The higher your retention rate, the faster you will build. So now you know how to do it. So the question is, there's only two ways to improve this. If your goal is to become fully booked as a barber or to fill your barbershop, if you're a barbershop owner, you have to get more clients and you have to figure out how to keep them coming back. But you cannot grow a barbershop or keep your chair full unless you figure that out.